Welcome back to the Vile. I was going to make a joke there until I realized, wait a minute, this joke stinks. But it was also so small of a time that I could not think of another one. Of course, if I was you, I'd say the joke
I'd have
entirely.
just said it, yeah, and then say it was completely unfunny.
Exactly.
Or I'd say it was completely unfunny and then say the joke.
That too.
Just completely deflate it and then make you have to listen to it anyways.
Yep, that does sound on brand for you. But we've gotten a lot more weapon options now. Of course, we still have an energy limiter, so we can't just put on all of the powerful things yet. But it's fine. The distance needler does most of the work I needed to do, honestly.
Mm.
And I'm saving this, and because the Sea Dragon's Rage is specifically is like, oh, it works well underwater. I'm sure they must. I'm sure just like it's strung to the water enemies in Launch Octopus stage, so I'm keeping that for later. And the front runner, I don't really use it that much, but if I need to, it's fine enough, especially considering its diagonal shot. But when we get the lasers later, the laser type weapons, then things will start working out for me. Of course, the thing is with the front runner is that it does stop you if you're on the ground for longer than I'd like it to, while the laser is really quick. Of course, there's still a lot of weapons that I still like didn't try. I know there's one that I'm sure I saw gameplay of before, but I don't remember it.
It's weird how every Mega Man game insists on that enemy respawn mechanic. Like it's relentless.
Like, I think it's somehow worse in this game. They're really, really relentless in this version. I really don't know. And the thing is that it doesn't work for the power-ups, not the power-ups, the items. So just the enemy will come back, but it looks like the health drop that it dropped, despawned. You're just gonna have to deal with that.
So bad. That's rough.
Yeah, well, I think we saw part of that issue. Wait, did we do Boomer Kalanga stage yet? Because there's one point that I know that I had some sort of issue showing stuff, but honestly, it's been a while, so I do not remember exactly which
This
thing.
is a PSP, right?
Yes.
I really like the 3DS PSP 3D aesthetic, where there's enough polygons for things to have a bunch of detail, but it's not strong enough for any super HD high def stuff. And so there's this real mix of blocky and detail that I think comes across really well.
I mean, considering that I've been playing Black Rock Shooter in my downtime, and that sort of aesthetic really works for me for that game, I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, like the 3DS Zelda games just look great.
Still need to get to Between Worlds and see all the hubbub now that I finally played A Link to the Past.
That reminds me, I need to continue playing some Zelda games. I'm in the Fire Temple now. Ocarina of Time. I need to get through it, and then what am I going to play next? What have I played? I've played Minish Cap. I've beaten Minish Cap.
Dude, considering your track record, thinking about what to play next should not be on your priority right now. It really should just be finish this dang game and then just focus on that.
That's a very good point. But I still want, because I'm just thinking, I've beaten Minish Cap. I've beaten, what's that game called? Link to the Past? No. Link's Awakening, which is fantastic.
Then you should probably finish, just do Link to the Past.
Yeah, I should probably just do Link to the Past. I I started playing Into the Past a very long time ago. I don't remember what stopped me. Oh yeah, the boss, and this might have just been because I was a lot worse at video games. The boss kept knocking me off the stage,
Oh, Moldorm.
so I wasn't dying. I was just being forced to replay him constantly. And
to
yeah, that
be
was
well,
years ago.
to be fair, Moldorm is frustrating. There is a slight trick to getting through it, but even that isn't exactly a oh you can cheese it. You can't. There's a lot of things you can't cheese. You just sort of have to get used to the fact that the head is where the tail will eventually be.
And
Once
then the Link to the Past sword is literally
it,
microscopic,
yeah,
and so
it swings on like 25 degrees.
so you just have to. But yeah, so I still liked it. I didn't. What I remember playing was fine. I didn't think it was amazing. Like it's people's favorite, so I wouldn't say that. Like but I haven't played that much. Maybe like 3 dungeons, 3, 4, maybe 3. But I 3 dungeons. Okay, 3 dungeons into Minish Cap is like 40% of the game. But I certainly enjoyed Minish Cap more than Link to the Past.
Well, Link to the Past is pretty basic, as I found. To the point, basic in fact to the point where the problem with a lot of how I approach puzzle is that I expected things to be a lot more complicated. And then it turns out that it's just you just have to look over here and it's
You
that
know,
easy.
when you played, if you start with Link's Awakening, I can certainly understand expecting things to be a lot more complicated because that game was ruthless. When I don't know, I'm trying to remember what was it, Face Shrine, which was a 6th dungeon. That's when the game said, okay, let's stop playing around here, and just everything after you enter the door to Face Shrine just became insanely hard. Well, not insanely hard, but that was definitely a shift. And then you get the Eagle's Tower, and it's just. Actually, I'd have to. I can't say for sure which one was harder, but it's either Face Shrine or Eagle's Tower. I know I found that one of them harder than the final dungeon. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, that game, that just. So after that, Link to the Past, it was like, oh, okay.
Well, I remember one point with the when I couldn't take out the Master Sword. It was like, but I've done everything. I don't understand. And it just turns out that I needed to just go around and approach it from the top instead of the bottom, like I just thought it was. Turns out the graphic at the top was not like some blocks that the sword was resting in front of, but were actually stairs.
Okay, well,
Here we
something.
have some of that some of that storytelling. Because we defeated Storm Eagle, his airship crashed into Spark Mandrill stage, and now the power is causing. Now there's issues with the power.
That's cool. Man, what is this about PSP Mega Man games?
Well, I mean, this also happened in the original, but you get more of a visual indicator in this version.
Okay.
In the original, they'd show you on the map that it happens, because they'd give you a broad map on the Maverick screen. But here you just see the actual spaceship crash.
Feels so Donkey Kong Country. I know Donkey Kong Country didn't invent level gimmicks, but every time I see a level gimmick, I just think of Donkey Kong Country.
And it's still. Oh, that reminds me! I can finally play Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I can finally see if what the hubbub is about in certain stages, or if you're actually weak sauce.
I mean, I am weak sauce. I mean, and you seem to be good at platformers. So even if the stages are good, even if they are not hard to you, I'd probably still say, especially the K levels, which are just evil. Like, I actually need to go back and I need to reinstall that game
I
and just play it.
I
Cause
mean,
yeah,
I remember when you gave me when you let me place a K level out of nowhere, and I was just like, yeah, this is hard, but at the same time, like I'm just playing this game for around the first time, so I kind of need to get used to things to begin with. So I can't really use that as a rubric, but it still seems really really tough.
yeah, it feels it's like you'll be in the final world struggling to beat stages and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot the second K level, I need to go back and do that. I just like just as hard.
What was the what was the
It's
requirement to get into the K levels again? Getting all the Kong letters?
I think so.
Hmm.
Because I don't think it's the puzzle pieces, because yeah, I certainly have not gotten all the puzzle pieces.
Yeah,
It might be the
I
puzzle
wonder if now
pieces,
that
but I think it's the
now
common
that I'm more
letters.
seasoned as at platformers, how many puzzle pieces I'll get. I mean, I say this as I'm playing a game where I really should have done more exploring. But
A few of them, because most of the puzzle pieces, I'd say, follow a bit of a formula, and not to say they're easy, because they're still not. They're still sometimes very easy to miss. But then there are a few that's it is only like this in this one place. And I would have never guessed that if I didn't look it up. That's like something you kind of accidentally fall into. I would say never guess that, but that's like something you'd accidentally fall into rather than just decide to do to get the puzzle piece. That happens once or twice.
yeah, well, they do a little
And then there are a
clue.
few puzzle pieces that are just completely. I'm sure I still haven't found them. I'm just going to look them up because I cannot find them.
Well, it depends. Of course, when you do look it up, there is a difference of, oh my God, I'm an idiot. How did I never? And how are you ever supposed to do this?
Yeah, pretty much.
Of course, that just reminds me that I still have the rest of New Super Mario Bros. DS where I saw evidence that even in the later levels, the star coins at that level, at that point, considering it's still like it was just a new format, are still pretty easy to get and see.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm sure there are a few good star coins, but I didn't think the star coins. I thought they were a good challenge in that they weren't hard, but they weren't easy. They were just like if you can play a Mario level, you can just get them. And
Well,
so I didn't really mind, but it is, yeah, they weren't really that tough. Which I guess when you get into later game stuff, you should be making them a little tougher.
I mean, because outside of certain things, I'd say that um, a lot of them just like I enjoyed the challenge of getting them with a few, as I said, with a few exceptions. Um, but overall, it's when I'm going through the game, because like for example, New Super Mario Bros. 2 still has some mini Mario required sections with some stuff, and like there is one level where you basically have to speed run it as mini Mario to get the star coins, because there's another path where you don't need to speed run it. Um, and the auto scrolling goes much slower. But you get no star coins. But you end up at the same place. So it's not like this goes to a secret exit and this doesn't.
Hmm.
So I kind of like that. But there was one level where it was just like one with the pipes that are actually rockets, and I don't know, they were hiding there was something with a secret exit there or something like that that I kept trying to figure out over and over, and I don't remember if I ever did it. Like there was this stage where they had a treasure ship, and I'm like, I don't know how the heck I'm getting to that. But unlike in other games, it was still something where just like I don't feel like I need to do this. Sure, I'd technically be missing a level or whatever, but it's not like it's burnt. This is Mario. It's not like it's burning me up inside to not get those.
Yeah, I think there's three kinds of power-ups, three kinds of optional things, and the average one is these are fun. They're not too hard, they're not too easy, there are not too many of them. I just want to get all of them because I feel I'm missing, and it like they're ingrained in the level design in a way where like yeah I want to try and get all of them, and they're the ones that are so like inconsequential that you kind of just ignore them. Like for me, the Yoshi coins I just ignore. The star coins I try to get them, but I don't feel too bad if I miss them as long as I get enough. And then there's the things that are so ridiculous that you just don't feel bad if you miss them, and that's the puzzle pieces. Where like, yeah, if there's 7 puzzle pieces in this level, yeah, if I find 5, I'm good. I'll move on.
I mean, that just still reminds me of Rayman, the original Rayman, because I hear it gets better in Redemption, like much better, to the point where I really need to get to playing that soon. Um, but like the fact that the final level is hidden behind the fact that you need to get all the Electoons is the dumbest thing I've just like I see, especially considering how little play tested those last levels were. Just like
Yeah.
it's really stupid. Um. Anyways, I've traded my shoulder cannon and ankle stuff for I basically reduced those back to the basic ones to power up my arm cannon to the 777, which absolutely shreds through the enemies and has a wide range. Unfortunately, as I will find out later, those things actually well those things are still counted as single pellets. So and that little pit there still it's just
Yeah, I'll
obscured enough.
chase you into it.
Absolutely, it's so annoying. But yeah, they all count as singular pellets. By the way, there's a heart container there. You can just barely see it shining above the trees, and you're supposed to be on the stump when the guy launches it to get it. But of course,
Oh, that's dumb.
yeah. But of course, I don't know that at the time. So I honestly, I'm playing a lot of these levels with just basic amounts of life. I
Yeah, if
really,
you were thinking in Donkey Kong Country, you'd say, yeah, what if I write this? You'd definitely think that.
I really should have just gone back to Spark Mandrill stage. Now, since I knew where the heart container is, I just missed my one chance to get it. So, because as I said, just with how they throw enemies upon enemies on you at this stage, there's just you have to deal with a lot as Vile. See, I just have to deal with another one of these guys to the point where I'm just running. But yeah, as I was saying, the 777 gun really powerful for the stage, but since it takes up a lot of energy, you're pretty much sacrificing the rest. And since these are all individual pellet bullets, when you reach the boss, they will be counted as individual pellet bullets. So it's like if you're only just using pellets, and then their invincibility thing will be activated, and then you'll only have pellets again.
Right.
So, considering This if you're going to try the 777, I'd say wait until close to the very end, if anything, where you can at least substitute one more of your weapon parts for it, and it's good enough. Because dealing with these bosses with single pellets is terrible. And worse, I'm going up against Sting Chameleon, who isn't super hard, but is really annoying. And I just happen to have single pellets. But at the same time, I was stubborn enough where I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can try and survive this. Especially considering with how many enemies they throw at you in this stage, even more than I expected, that were at different altitudes. The 777 really helps. So like I didn't want to have to give it up.
I mean, there's boss weapons and there's stage weapons. It's just that you have to play the stage to get to the boss, which means stage weapons are a lot less useful.
The only difference to this is the distance needler, which, while it has again really small, pitiful range of fire, but because it goes through enemies and it's it's relatively strong, it does well again. It does well enough in the stages, where it's not terrible, and you can still have enough energy to equip other stuff. While in the bosses, it really helps. Like I know you probably weren't paying attention to when I fought Spark Mantril, but because the distance leader is technically ice elemental as well, and Spark Mantril's weakness is to the ice, that plus the distance needler's damage to begin with just absolutely wrecked him.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as you can wreck him as X if you have Chill Penguin's weapon at that point, because he just freezes, like actually freezes when you hit him with it. So you can just spam that.
Yeah.
But what you see, I'm doing all this dodging and shooting, and I didn't even get half of Sting Chameleon's health down. Just the distance, the 777, just you're really better off trying to use the ankle bombs or the. Well, I actually think the front runner does the same amount of damage, so it's almost entirely dependent on the ankle bombs. Of course, I do have the Frozen Castle ability, which means I am still taking half damage, and yet this is still happening to me. But hold on,
It shows how much of a nut joke the boss is.
I just saw that. It's hard for me to tell, cause like they're individual. Cause I'm looking at the boss health bar, and I take my eyes away at the wrong time, cause it looks like it's cut up into the blue and red portions, and I'm trying to see if the front runner takes off too. Anytime, darn it, still using. And I missed. The good thing about Steel Chameleon is that that as annoying as he is, he doesn't hit very hard. So I can take a lot of hits, but I will be taking a lot of hits.
Yeah, and eventually those hits will pile up.
Unfortunately, I also have to listen to his voice while doing this. I don't know if you currently have that. And also, he has that special attack that I keep being nearly unprepared for. But I don't know if you have it on. But just he has the same mannerisms as a playground child, and I get really tired of hearing it. Like not even in the case of, oh, now I really gotta beat him. It's just like, God, shut up! I have to deal with you specifically because of my weapon choice, and I'm suffering already. Just enough.
It's really not worth just leaving and doing off the level with weapons.
Here's the thing. Since I have one life left anyways, I'm like, okay, I got really close last time. You and me, let's see what I can do. Of course, it does say a lot that I am still able to do something with just the standard amount of Vile Health. But I genuinely do not remember if I do this or not, or have to give up, and because I'm already at half health. Then again, the front runner does seem to be doing 2 pellets of damage, so if I can just keep being able to use that. Up, and I made a terrible mistake. It's... I know
Very good
that...
at dodging.
Well, decently good at dodging. The problem is that I keep shooting the front runner will stall you. And I keep shooting it at the wrong times. The problem, of course, is in between all the stuff I have to deal with, there's also getting flustered. And the fact that even just touching the boss hurts you. I really wonder what it would be like in certain Mega Man games if that wasn't a factor.
Oh, that's in every Mega Man game.
Yes.
Hmm.
And it's...
You just...
No! That was so close! So close. But yeah, now... he's beaten me. I got close, but I just couldn't do it. But now I've switched to the fist weapons.
Ouch.
Unfortunately, it seems that the shoulder weapon that I did choose is still the same power as the front runner for him. And if anything, it has less range. So, whoops. But at least I have the fist weapon, which does do decent damage. Just look at that be shredded down. Still not as much as the distance leader would be, but I just didn't want to stick with one weapon all the time. There are options, and I'm gonna use them.
It wouldn't be as interesting. It's like, Mario Maker players are doing a challenge run, and they'll purposely pick harder levels that they could skip so that the stream isn't boring.
Well, yeah, but I thought you were going to talk about that on the creator side. Like how there would be an abundance of certain types of levels for a while. Or rather you get known for doing that kind of level and then you just keep doing it constantly.
Both of those are definitely things that happen.
You ever think, what's his name, Pangaea, or the guy behind the King of Pangaea?
It's Pangaea.
Okay. You ever think he regrets being known as a super hard Mario guy? That he just doesn't make normal levels anymore?
I mean, he enjoys making hard levels. Because I've watched a couple streams where he makes hard levels. But also, he doesn't only make hard levels. Like in Mario Maker 2, he's made some multiplayer stuff. He's made... It wasn't a puzzle level, it was a password level where it's pretty much you can only beat it if you know the password, which basically makes unbeatable levels. And he's done a few... So I wouldn't necessarily say it's only... But yeah, he does the mainly hard stuff. And who knows, maybe he regrets it, but I don't think so.
Alright.
From what I've seen.